What the? Okay, yeah. So what's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. What's going on, everyone? Don't worry, I am not going to be flipping my chair or anything crazy in this stream. I just figured I'd put it in the title because I feel like raging right now. But what's going on, everyone? Seriously, Mets Talk with Hayden here. What's going on, everyone? I hope everyone is doing extremely well. It is a nice day outside for me in sunny Florida. See how it is in New York for tonight. The New York Mets are playing the Washington Nationals tonight at 7:10 at Citi Field, home of the one and only New York Mets. But in today's stream, we are going to be going over the New York Mets and San Francisco Giants series summary. Then we are going to be transitioning into the New York Mets and Washington Nationals series preview. And then I'll go over my spiel with players that are hot, players that are cold, and stuff that I hope to see ahead with the Mets, Luis Rojas, all that great stuff. And then obviously, as always, I will be going over the comments that everyone has to leave me in the comment section below. So please, everyone, before we get started, give this video a like, comment, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any more great New York Mets and baseball content. So stop wasting any time because we wasted like a minute already. Let's get right into it. So in terms of the Mets and San Francisco Giants series summary, it really did not go in the Mets' way. The New York Mets were swept. Big surprise. The New York Mets were swept. Really? Yes, that is right. The New York Mets were swept by the San Francisco Giants 3-0. Obviously, this was a very rough series, but getting into it, let's get into game one, which was Tuesday's game. The New York Mets lost 8-1. We had Tylor Megill on the bump for the New York Mets, and it was honestly his worst outing of his rookie year so far. He went 3.2 innings pitched, 11 hits, 7 runs, 0 walks, which is pretty solid. Can't complain with that, and surrendered 5 strikeouts. Pretty much with Tylor Megill, we pretty much learned and observed that his off-speed pitch, the command was not there. It was not being thrown down the zone. His fastball zone wasn't there also. And a lot of the Giants lineup, forgive Megill for a minute, a lot of, in terms of Tylor Megill, is that he's facing a Giants team. What do the Giants do best? They swing early on in the count. That is something the Giants are well known for. They swing at every first pitch coming ahead. So this honestly was a very, very big thing that I don't want to necessarily blame Tylor Megill for. You can say, yes, it was the San Francisco Giants. They have a hot lineup that is like the Dodgers. They'll swing at first pitches. They take pitches, unlike the New York Mets, who just swing at every pitch down the zone. Ball 1, swung. Oh, down the middle, swung. Oh, 3. Okay, whatever. So that's really the issue with the Mets versus the Giants. Following Tylor Megill's outing, we could see that Trevor Williams came in, who's honestly been nice and quiet this year. I've really been liking what I've been seeing out of Trevor Williams. Following that, we did have Miguel Castro come in, surrendered 1 earned run, not the end of the world. And then Heath Hembree made his Mets debut coming from the Cincinnati Reds. If that name sounds familiar, that is because we got a walk-off against him in the Red Series, which I did go live for that. So try to check that stream, try to find that stream out. So Heath Hembree came in, made his Mets debut quiet. In terms of the offense, there was literally no offense. I think before I may have mistaken and said 8-1. My apologies. I mean 8-0. In terms of the offense, there was no run creation. Only allowed 5 hits, 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position, and we left 5 runners on base. Something that, obviously is just becoming the typical Mets regular at this rate. So that was game one. Very unfortunate. Nothing really went in terms of the Mets' way. Getting into game two, where there was some bit of hope. Game two, Taijuan Walker was on the bump. Pretty solid start, but we know the Mets lost 3-2. We had Taijuan Walker on the bump. 6 innings pitched. 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. He pounded the strike zone very well. I will give him props for that. He pounded the strike zone very well. He has been mixing a lot of his pitches we've been seeing, and he's kind of transferred from the four-seam fastball to the two-seam fastball to try to avoid giving up more hard contact, so allowing home runs. In terms of what happened with Taijuan Walker, most of us know it. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you saw my reaction. If you follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, I was not very happy. I ranted off on Luis Rojas. Taijuan Walker in the 7th inning was pulled following 2 light hits. The first one was a lucky hit, a dribbler to the third baseman, Jonathan Villar. If Jonathan Villar could have made that play, that would have been amazing. You know, that was a light dribbler. I don't even think Nolan Arenado, Matt Chapman could have even made that play, honestly. Great play there. Sadly, Villar, or many third basemen, I don't think they could get that play. So that allowed a runner on first. And following that, there was a BABIP light single off the ends of the bat. Conforto dove for it, but it was out of his way. And McNeil obviously running backwards. You can't do that. So yeah, obviously not the best there. So you had 2 lucky hits. I know I'm not the person that says lucky and I say, oh, there's no luck in sports. It's just, but this was kind of lucky. It was a lucky hit. Lucky in terms of the Giants that they were facing the Mets defense that really kind of went Kaputski towards the end of the game. Following that, Luis Rojas did take out Taijuan Walker. And who did he put in? Aaron Loup. Loup, there it is. That is right. Aaron Loup, unfortunately, his first batter, Brandon Crawford, surrendered a sharp double to right center to score 2 runs. And then following that, all the crowd started chanting, "Fire Rojas, fire Rojas, fire Rojas." I do not blame them for this. This was a terrible, terrible call by Luis Rojas. And I think it comes to the point now where, it really is a whole other Mickey Callaway thing. Because you look at what Callaway did with his bullpen moves, and now you look at what it does with the Mets. This is my overall issue with Rojas. He knows this team is not scoring runs. Walker was upset that he was taken out of the game. Don't get me wrong, any pitcher would have been, but he was generally surprised when he saw Luis Rojas walking towards him. He's like, "What do you mean?" I mean, I can't read lips, but he was pretty shocked. So I don't blame him. And then following all the chants of Fire Rojas, we had May come in for an inning pitch, pretty quiet. Trevor May has been a little inconsistent, so hopefully he could start to be pretty solid. Transferring into next year if they do keep him. I believe they do have another year for him. So that was in terms of the pitching. In terms of the offense, we did see offense. The offense for the Mets was a little rough in this game also. We saw the offense. We did get a hit from Pete Alonso to the third base side. But luckily, what happened? You had Chris Bryant, the guy who's pretty elite at third base. What did Chris Bryant do? He made a throwing error. And that was lucky enough to score Jonathan Villar to tie the game. Following that, we had a Dominic Smith RBI double to drive in Conforto. 10 hits, but then the Giants were able to turn 5 double plays. So you had Brandon Crawford this series really showing off the leather and showing off his arm. I mean, I've never seen so many double plays in my life. 2 freight with runners in scoring position, and we left 9 players on base. Pretty unfortunate. And then obviously we got the Mets special, as I like to call it. What is the Mets special? Leaving runners and men on base in the bottom of the 9th with 1 out, 0 outs, or 2 outs, and not doing jack diddly squat. That is the Mets special. The Mets committed a Mets special. As I think I'm gonna stick to that from now on. It's pretty funny. So yes, a Mets special was occurred by the Mets. Getting into Game 3 of this series. Game 3 was really something else. Game 3 was Thursday's game last night. We all know what happened last night. Hopefully you guys did see some of my reactions. I was not very happy. Game 3, Mets lost 3-2. You had Carlos Carrasco on the bump, and Carlos Carrasco had one of his best outings of his season so far. Carlos Carrasco, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 0 walks, 5 strikeouts. Carrasco did allow some hard contact in the first inning, starting with the only Chris Bryant gave up a 2-run homer in the first inning, was quiet after that, was quiet. Didn't allow a single run after that, didn't allow another runner in scoring position following that. Mets offense, nah, we're not going to help you out, Cookie. The one time you're playing well so far this season, nah, we're not going to help you out, man. It sucks. It really does. I mean, in terms of Carlos Carrasco, his velocity was there. He looked sharp. Really no complaints with him. I'm really just going to say chill on that hard ball contact because it results in a lot of fly balls. And this isn't Coors Field or, whatever it's called in San Francisco. But, yeah, we know the Mets luck. In terms of everything, we had Seth Lugo coming following that. And Seth Lugo really struggled this game, and he's really been struggling this season so far. He retired 0 guys. He allowed 2 hits and a run. He had the bases loaded, nobody out. Who did they put in? They put in Aaron Loup again. And just Aaron Loup, who Aaron Loup claims, I don't like to give up anyone else's runs. Aaron Loup comes in, and he gets out of a bases loaded jam with 0 outs, giving up 0 runs. May I remind you, Loup once had a count of 3-1, and he was able to turn all this around, not give up a single run. That is what I call elite right there. Aaron Loup has been one of the best free agent signings at the Mets. I think, honestly, he is the best free agent signing we got this offseason. Really, I really do think he is. So following that, Aaron Loup got out of the jam, as stated. In terms of the offense was pretty solid for the most part in the midst of the game. In terms of the offense, we had 9 hits. We went run for 5 with runners in scoring position, and we left 9 guys on base. Following that, we had a Pete Alonso 2-run home run. Always love to see Pete Alonso hit home runs. That is always my thing. I love to see Big Meat Pete hit a home run. Yes, if you're going to say it was foul, don't bother. It was fair. It hit the facade or whatever you want to call it. It broke glass on the little restaurant, dining room, whatever. So Pete Alonso hit a 2-run home run to left field, 447 feet, mind-boggling. So that was crazy to see. And then obviously that drove in Javier Baez, who was on second base. And that was Pete Alonso's 29th home run of the year. Alonso has been on fleek, on fire, and red hot this stretch so far. He has really been their biggest source of run creation. I could imagine if Alonso was hurt or something right now, what would this Mets offense look like? Not too good. And then following that, obviously in terms of this Mets and Giants series, we pretty much saw the Mets could not hit a fastball as usual. They could not hit against left-handed pitching as usual. And a lot of our guys are getting too aggressive. I feel Jeff McNeil is the perfect candidate for this. Jeff McNeil, I loved his aggressive strategy in 2019, swinging at the first pitch. He has an 0-2 count, doesn't mean anything. He gets a hit with it. Now we are looking at Jeff McNeil. He is too aggressive at the plate, and we see it is not working. He's swinging at breaking balls in the dirt. Even when he's pitch hitting, it's still the same stuff. He is swinging at every first pitch. And, it comes to say, McNeil, this stuff isn't realizing. Maybe you should switch it up. Maybe 2019, it's a different year now. You face different teams, different pitchers. Maybe that was a one-time thing. I hope not. I don't think it was. I think McNeil can get back on track. But, I really don't know who to blame on what is going on with this Mets offense. It's like, people say, oh, Quattlebaum, how much could he be responsible, yada, yada, yada. And then people also make the argument, oh, but, when the Mets had, what was his face, Chili Davis, couldn't they just remember everything that Chili Davis taught them? And I'll tell you this, with Chili Davis, he really turned a lot of these guys into studs. If you see what Chili Davis did to, Jeff McNeil, J.D. Davis, a lot of these guys in these team who really didn't have crazy hard hit rates, exit velocity, all that great stuff, and launch angle, he turned them into that. Chili Davis's way to go about things, he was a line drive type of coach. What is Quattlebaum's approach? Ground balls, sac flies, and that's why, people say, oh, but, Chili Davis. Oh, if it was Chili Davis being responsible for, Nimmo, McNeil, JD Davis becoming great hitters, why wouldn't they remember that? Well, time passes. You have a year without them, a 60-game season. Stuff changes is the point of the message. So overall, I really don't know. I hope, honestly, with this Mets team, they could try to get back on track with their offense. It just comes down to the time is it too late? So that is it with the New York Mets and San Francisco Giants series summary. Mets lost 3-0 in the series. They were only able to take one last series. Not the best time against the San Francisco Giants. But now, getting into brighter things. The black jerseys are back. It's always a plus, but the Mets are 0-2 in the black jerseys. So we'll see how much that really goes to show. Point of the message is the Mets are playing the Washington Nationals tonight at home. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm excited for this game. Game 1 will be tonight, Friday at 7:10 p.m. We will have Pablo Espino on the bump for the Washington Nationals. He is 3-4 on the season, posting a 4.29 ERA and having 58 strikeouts. We see he is obviously a fastball pitcher, which is a concern for the Mets because what could the Mets not do? Hit fastballs. The Mets cannot hit a fastball for their life. Fastball pitcher. He does have low velocity, but I don't know. The velocity with this team is just weird. We are going to see a lot of whiffs, a lot of hard contact against the Mets. So the Mets should be getting a lot of balls in play. And on the New York Mets bump, we will have Rich Hill pick up from the Tampa Bay Rays. He is making, I think, his 5th or 6th start with the Mets so far. But taking a look at his Mets starts and stats, we could see with the New York Mets in his stretch, he is 0-1, posting a 5.06 ERA and throwing 16 strikeouts. We see my usual expectations for Rich Hill are the curveball. He has that low velocity curveball. Nice left-handed pitcher. Honestly, he cannot go super far. He is a veteran pitcher. He is 41 years old, so he is a veteran pitcher. So if he can go 4 innings, 5 innings would be a treat, then so at it. He's effective, but he can only go so many innings and have a so high pitch count. Getting into Game 2, which will be Saturday, tomorrow at 7:10 p.m., we will have Sean Nolan, or Nolan, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, on the bump for the New York Mets, for the Washington Nationals. We could see that he is 0-2 on the season with a 9 flat ERA and 7 strikeouts. We could see he is a left-handed pitcher, fastball concern. So once you hear fastball is his main pitch and left-handed pitcher, that's going to be a big no-no. So we know that. It is his first year back in Major League Baseball since 2015. He was with the Oakland Athletics. He did take some personal time, kind of retired, but he is back with the Nationals this season. And on the Mets side, we will have Marcus Stroman, 9-12 on the season, 2.85 ERA, and 124 strikeouts. Stroman had a great outing last time against the Los Angeles Dodgers in Los Angeles. So that was awesome to see. Hopefully Marcus Stroman could keep it up at Citi Field. And for the most part, I saw something weird to see today, which was that Marcus Stroman's stats, win and ERA and all that great stuff during day games and night games. So pretty interesting to see. But please, everyone, give this video a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on those post notifications so you never, ever, ever miss a video. Sorry about that. All right. So that'll be Game 2. And as we know, Marcus Stroman, he's been pretty solid. He has that splitter slider action, and pretty much with that details. If the splitter slider results in ground balls versus fly balls, you want to see ground balls with this guy. He is a ground ball pitcher. You want to see Stroman getting ground balls. Obviously, that means the offense is going to have, in terms of the infield, their typical regular guys. You don't have to worry about putting in Villar or Blankenhorn or Yorme. As much as I like those guys, I think it comes to the point where just start playing your everyday roster. I mean, at this point of the season, you got to. So yeah, splitter slatter action ratio, as I went over. His swinging and miss rate is really going up. A lot of guys are chasing, resulting in more strikeouts. Splitter slatter also. So Stroman's been pretty solid this season. It's just if he's going to be like that next season, and in terms of his contract, if he will be re-signed or a qualifying offer or a possible extension. So that is game 2. Getting into game 3, we will see. It's on Sunday at 1:10. That is right. It is a day game. The Mets are no longer playing on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, I think, until the Yankees. So that's going to be great to see. Game 3, Sunday at 1:10. Eric Fetty will be on the bump for the Washington Nationals. 6-8 on the season, 4.91 ERA, and 97 flat strikeouts. He does not rely on his fastball, so that's the one break we'll get. He does give up a lot of hard contact. Chase rate isn't super high. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys. He is a ground ball pitcher, so you have guys like Pete Alonso who hit the ball really hard. So try to get to advantage of that. Some BABIPs from Nimmo. From one thing that I've been researching him, if there's any Nationals fans in the chat that can confirm, I heard that he's kind of changing up his curveball grip to like a Sam Clay. So we're going to have to see what that details. I do want to do some research on that. And then obviously he did have a good start last in Miami, 1 run in 6 innings pitched. So that is for Eric Fetty. And then Tyler McGill will be on the bump for the Mets, who is coming off a huge bounce-back start, is something he needs. 1-3 on the season, 4.07 ERA, and 65 strikeouts. Bounce-back start for him. We saw he got really crushed in the Giants series. I went over that. Pretty much try to locate the strike zone, obviously, with the off-speed pitches and the fastball. That was his concern last outing. And limit the pitch count, obviously. We don't know how much the bullpen's going to be taxed this series. So try to limit that pitch count. And simply enough, you don't want to be going out there, having 70, 80 in terms of a pitch count in the 5th, 6th inning. Obviously, with injuries and just so much more with the Mets. So that is the Mets and Nationals series preview. Nationals are 54-72 on the season. They are 4th place in the division in terms of runs. They are 4th place in batting average, 11 in slugging, and 2nd in on-base percentage. So, yes, a lot of that could have been contributed from guys like Trey Turner and some other players they no longer have, but they are still, to an extent, of course, listen, they're not a crazy team, but obviously you got Carter Kieboom. I love Carter Kieboom. I don't know why people are like, Carter Kieboom, I don't care about him. I think he's a pretty underrated prospect, if you ask me. And then obviously they have Juan Soto. So yeah, we're going to have to see what goes about with that. Nationals did have a rough time in Miami against the Marlins. I believe they lost 2 out of 1. So we're going to have to see 2 out of 3. My apologies. So we're going to have to see what they could do against the New York Mets tonight. So that is it with the New York Mets and Washington Nationals series preview. Obviously, we did know I went over with the Luis Rojas situation. A lot of people want him out. And listen, I understand that. I think it really just comes down to who is really on the bench to take over. Are you going to fire a manager, mid-season or to an extent a quarter away towards the offseason? So I don't know. Personally, I mean, if the Mets are just going to play like this for the next 3 weeks, you may as well just fire them. I mean, try to see what this rhythm has. Maybe not fire Rojas, but fire Quattlebaum. I mean, and people say, oh, you never want to, change a hitting coach, when you're a quarter away from the offseason. Well, yeah, but if they're not hitting, what's the point? I mean, these guys are pretty much by themselves. Whenever they show Quattlebaum, whenever they show Rojas in the dugout, I don't see them talking to anyone. I see I see Rojas with Zhao standing next to each other, or just Rojas solely, just watching the game. Like, I don't see him talking to Alonso. I don't see him talking to McNeil. I don't see him talking to Hefner. I don't see him talking to, J.D. Davis or Carlos Carrasco. I see him just chilling in the dugout. So, what are we doing here? I mean, you got to talk to these guys. Talk to them. My favorite motto is talk to each other. Do it. It could mean a lot for these guys. I mean, it takes off pressure, gives them ideas. They just sit here and they don't do jack. I don't know. It pisses me off, but something has to happen with Louis. Personally, you have Carlos Beltran. I mean, there were a couple other guys like Bob Melvin that were even discussed out there, but I don't know if he's going to want to leave Oakland. So I'm really thinking, yeah, I mean, Carlos Beltran would really be your only solid choice. If anyone has any in the comment section below of who could be a potential manager going into 2022, let me know. Because, I mean, honestly, I really don't know many other guys that are out there that would be willing to take the job. But yeah, please, everyone, give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those post notifications, all that great stuff. If you have any comments, drop them below. It is that time where we're going to go over all of the comments. So what's going on, everyone? Ibandos, what's going on, my man? Galapos, what's going on? Gio, what's going on? Ranting New York Rangers, what's going on? Mr. Blueberry. Alyssa says, I heard Alonso hit a home run. Yeah, he did. A 447-foot home run. So that was really crazy. His 29th of the year. It just tucked inside the fair pole and the foul pole. So great to see that it was fair. So very crazy to see. Very crazy to see. Mets Hub, what's going on? Fire Rojas. Yeah, man, I agree with you. I agree. Static Attic, what's going on, man? I appreciate you tuning in. TP35, Fire Rojas, of course. YouTube Productions, what's going on, man? Travis, what's going on, man? Z Sports Cards, Quentin, Static Attic, AB, what's going on, everyone? What's going on? Yeah, Pete Alonso has really been looking good. I agree with you, man. Yeah, I mean, not so much a hate and rage. I'm not going to be flipping my chair, but we'll have to be civilized. You're at the gym. Hey, man, I still appreciate you tuning in. That is awesome. I appreciate you tuning into the stream. If you're still listening, hopefully get that grind, get that workout in. Very, very, very important. So yeah, LFGM, I appreciate you tuning in, Ibandos. It's Merlin. I'm always here, even though I'm a Yankees fan. What's going on, AB? I appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, regardless, Mets, Yankees, Braves, Phillies fans, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Ruben, yeah, hooray to Pete Alonso. Alonso has been looking really good so far. Taking a look at his last, yeah, we could take a look at his last, let's take a look-see at his last 7 games. Pete Alonso stats. Pete Alonso, MLB. Yeah, last seven games, 29 at bats, 5 runs, 11 hits. Oh yeah, Alonso does have an 11-game hit streak. That is the longest of his 3-year career so far. In 2019, it was a 10-game hit streak. Now he is at an 11-game hit streak. So 11 hits, 3 home runs, 6 ribbies, 7 strikeouts. Slash line of 379, 419, and 690. So great to see Alonso really carrying this offense. And he's been looking great overall this season. Much more relaxed at the plate, laying off those off-speed pitches in the strike zone, breaking balls, all that great stuff. And he's actually been doing well against breaking balls this year. I think most of his home runs have been on breaking balls. Karen, what's going on? Night baseball and sports. Yeah, listen, I was very upset, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to rage. Figured I'd fire up the chat, but I appreciate you tuning in, man. Hopefully I didn't scare everyone. Z Sports Card, what's going on, man? Logan, guys, I think we have the easiest schedule in the world for the next 14 games. The Braves have the Dodgers, Giants, and Rockies at home. I think the Mets have a shot if and only they start winning these games. Yeah, Logan, you bring up a point there. Mets are playing, I believe it's Nationals, Marlins, Nationals, Marlins. My thing with the Marlins is don't get blindsided with their standings and where they are in the NL East. They always give us trouble. They have that nice young rotation. Jesus Luzardo, Sandy Alcantara, Rogers, all that, all these guys. We saw they had one of their rookies. I forgot his name, but he made his debut the other day against the Nationals, pitched pretty solid. So yeah, don't ever be confused. I mean, and they have a lot of left-handed pitching, which the Mets really struggle against. So don't always be confused with the teams. I mean, they're Major League Baseball teams, so they could still win. I mean, who were to think that, the Pittsburgh Pirates would sweep us in a series? I mean, not me. So, I mean, Nationals and Marlins, in my opinion, are much better than those and what the Pirates look like at that time. But yeah, you never know, man. Travis, I appreciate you tuning in, man. LFGM. So I wasn't lying when I was gonna rage. You know what? We're gonna save the rages for some in-game streams. I know a lot of people are asking me for that, so we're gonna have to see. Yeah, I mean the Rockies. Yeah, I think the Braves could easily sweep that, but I think he was I think he was more trying to mean the Dodgers and Giants. Bro, I didn't expect the Mets to go 2-11 against the Dodgers and Giants. Poor Mets. Neither did I. I mean, I said if we get 5-11, that'll be lucky. Stony, what's going on, man? I appreciate you tuning in. Jordan, what's going on? Cole, what's going on? No worries. That sounds good, Merlin. From Marco, Javier Baez and Chris Bryant playing against each other seems weird. It does. It really does seem weird. It really does. I'm going to agree with you on that, man. Like, I never really suspected these two guys to be playing against each other in a season. I thought they would always. I mean, if anything, I knew Chris Bryant was going to leave, but I didn't expect Baez to leave. In my opinion, and I mean, you can go back to all my streams. I literally just said Bryant, Kimbrel, and maybe like a starting pitcher. I thought Baez and Rizzo were going to stay. I mean, and when I saw the Baez signing that he was leaving, I was really surprised, and Rizzo too. I mean, I was saying, hey, but don't the Yankees? I mean, they have a guy named Luke Voigt. So yeah, I found that a little weird. But yeah, definitely very weird to see. Definitely a rough stretch for the Mets. 2-11. Yeah, man, it's really tough. It really is. But I mean, you could be a Yankees fan and be 12-0 and be happy off the walls. Yeah, Loop really has been outstanding. Loop has been one of the, like I said, I think he's been the best acquisition the Mets got this offseason. And then obviously Night Sports is complimenting Marco's point about them playing against each other. It's weird. Rojas responsible to bring in Loop was bad. The like to dislike ratio was terrible. Yeah, I agree with you. It really was. Yeah, I mean, the three guys itself on different teams is weird. I mean, Chris Bryant showed the Mets why I should have signed him. That's what I said a million times the last 2 weeks with the Mets and Giants playing each other. I'm a Yankees fan, so my opinion might not be respected very much. Listen, man, regardless, Mets, Yankees, Nationals, Phillies, casual, I agree with you, man. But I've never thought, yeah, I agree with you, man. Thing with Rojas was I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I referred to it as the honeymoon phase. Everyone knows that by now. I always refer to it at that. 2020, I called it the honeymoon phase. I didn't judge him off of that. Tough year, kind of a quick and a ippity for Rojas. He was placed in that position so quickly due to the Carlos Beltran firing, and they had to just scramble someone through there. He was unprepared. The shortened season really screwed everything up. I gave him a grain of salt, honeymoon phase. Then 2021 is really where it got real. You had all the guys. You had, in my opinion, a better lineup with, these guys. So I really questioned, with Luis Rojas, and this is the thing with Rojas. I mean, I really question how much of it is him and how much of it is the analytical department. I don't know. I mean, it's not like a Bobby Valentine where the manager is really on point with everything. So that's really the issue, I guess. But when the season started, I was tough on Rojas. Then when we got that win spree, I said, okay. I mean, he respects his players. I like that. He's helping out an injured team where we had Maben, Tovar, Lee, in our lineup, and I said what he's doing to this AAA team is crazy. But he was a AAA manager or a Dominican League manager, so a little interesting. No, I'm not trying to say that or anything. Obviously, I don't think Rojas is a AAA manager or Dominican League manager, but it's funny because he was very good in the Dominican League, AAA kind of to an extent, and when you gave him a Triple League team or a Dominican League in this sense. Hence, he was very good with it. But now you give him a major league team, and he can't do well with it. So maybe Rojas can go down to the Dominican or AAA or Single A or Double A or Summer Ball, and he'd be a good manager there, in my opinion. But yeah, overall, I agree with you, man. Now it just comes to the point where I see these lineups. I question it. He's standing up for his players. We see he's very argumentative with the strike zone, which is good. He stands up for his players now, something he did in 2020. Especially with McNeil in the Blue Jays series. He left McNeil out there to argue himself. But these pitch moves, this lefty-righty on lefty-righty bullshit really is starting to piss me off. He claims to be analytically driven, and yet, you look at the incident with Will Smith, where he puts Lupin, a left-handed pitcher, where my apologies, where he didn't put in Loop, a left-handed pitcher, and you look at the career OPS of Will Smith versus a right-handed pitcher, which he put in Familia, against the left-handed pitcher and Aaron Loop. That's basic stats right there. That's not even deep analytically driven, and Rojas can't get that right. So I really question a lot of things of Luis Rojas going ahead. I really do. Rojas is a bum. He is a bum. Pete Alonso is a beast. Love to see it. A Nimmo walk following. I guess you meant to say Nimmo. A Nimmo walk following an Alonso home run. Yeah, that's pretty much the story with the Mets. Nimmo walks, gets a base hit by a pitch. I don't know. Pretty much same thing. And then Alonso just drives him in from a home run. Or Alonso gets a hit, and then someone else behind him. Like Lindor, who has been terrible. Do I want to go another Lindor rant? I want another one kind of when the video started. So that's the reason Rojas was so bad. I agree with Sal Licata, my favorite person. That Loop isn't a guaranteed success. Yeah, we'll see. Devin, I appreciate you tuning in, man. Yeah, I agree with you, bro. I think Rojas is done after the season anyway. Cohen wants to bring in his own guys. If the Mets can't recover and get to the playoffs, then I say Rojas is fired in the offseason. Honestly, I want to fire him right now, but everyone doesn't want to. If the Mets get a good amount, I agree with you, Action Jackson. I think we would have had at least a solid 6 or 7 games won if we had a different manager. Whether that was Terry Collins, Carlos Beltran, Mickey Callaway, or just someone with common sense and brain cells and brain tissue active in their head. Why? The moves with the lefty-righty on lefty crap that doesn't go our way. Taking out a guy too late. Taking out a guy too early. Where casual fans are even texting me and messaging me saying, Hayden, I'm a casual, and even I know to take him out. And I'm like, I know. It's crazy. And then Rojas in these press conferences, he's so boring, and he says, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You're the manager. You should know. Why did you take him out? It's the New York media. Say something. But yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, man. Fire Rojas. You tell him, Gio. The Giants tried as hard as they possibly could to give the Mets. Hey, exactly. And one thing I want to point out with the issue with Carlos Carrasco and Rojas, we saw when Johnny Cueto was struggling, I believe it was in the 5th or 6th inning. What happened? Bases loaded with one out. Gabe Kepler came out. He didn't take him out. He extended to at a low pitch count also. And what did he do? He talked to him. And he kept him in, and he got the job done. What happened with Rojas and Carrasco in a similar situation? He took him out. He didn't talk to him. He didn't try to calm him down. Just took him out. And that's the thing. You really see the difference there. It's really unfortunate. I mean, Gabe Kepler, what he's done to this Giants team is astonishing. In my opinion, I felt he had a better lineup in Philly than he did in San Francisco. But maybe he just needed out of Philly. So Gabe Kepler is a ball player of his own self. He's played with the Red Sox in the early 2000s. And he's doing well with San Francisco right now. Hayden with no hat. Hey, I'm assuming you mean hat because I'm not wearing a hat. Howdy, what's going on, Christopher, man? The guy from the Reds that got 20. Castellanos, yeah. Castellanos, I'm hoping could definitely be a DH potentially if the Mets are to sign him. It comes, would he be the upgrade from Conforto? Obviously, their defense is to an extent similar, but what bat do you really value in that lineup? Castellanos could always be the DH need be. If it doesn't come back, you could always try to throw him in left field. We battled. Yep, you tell him we battled. Mickey Callaway's famous saying, Mets hitter, what's runners in scoring position? As a Mets fan, I have no idea. Mets are like runs interrogated socially. I don't know. Yeah, Mets do not know what runners in scoring position is. Colby, what's going on, man? Cost us more this series than he cost us the season. Yeah, pretty much. Resign Loop. Yes, sir. You can tell him. Loop, there it is. Of course. I hope the Mets could beat the Nationals at least. Yeah, I hope so too, man. I really do. Who did we sign offensively? I mean, Pilar's out of the books. I mean, in terms of the bench mob, yes. I'm trying to think who else we signed this offseason, whether it was a minor guy who helped us out for a month. I mean, Pilar's off the books. Yeah, I mean, Lindor. Lindor hasn't doing it. Lindor's been terrible. Yeah, I may honestly have to agree with you on that. I know it's an old subject, but Vlad Jr. was the real winner of the 2019. Nah, come on, get at it. Nah, come on, Ice Cube. What do you mean? It's Pete Alonso. Big Meat Pete. Pete Alonso won it. Come on. No, we can't be doing. Oh. But I'll say Vlad Jr. definitely put on a show. And Vlad Jr.'s been pretty good this year. I think he could definitely be an MVP candidate, at least top 3, no doubt. LFGM, Baseball's Man, what's going on? From Static Attic, I do foresee the Mets playing 500 ball the rest of the way, as they do have a good nucleus of players. Interesting analogy. But the first place is out of the picture, boys. As the old saying goes, wait till next year. Yep, that is the old saying, Static Attic. You tell them. Sadly, that is probably the reality. It is no longer a fantasy. It is our reality that the Mets are honestly going to finish as a 3rd or 4th place team pretty much. So it sucks, but what are you going to do? Call up Kumar Rocker that messed us over. Well, I think Kumar Rocker's out of the picture now with the whole injury stuff. Nimmo and Pete are the only guys, pretty much, yeah. Nimmo and Pete are the only guys that I really have confidence in the offense. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Nimmo and Alonso deserve better. Well, hopefully next year, when this Mets team is more, performing well, their patience will be shown for. Nationals and Marlins, we need to take advantage of the series. I agree with you, Quentin. We really need to take advantage of these 2 series of the Nationals and Marlins. We're playing a 4th and 5th place team in our division. Don't, get fooled by their record and standings, especially the Marlins. They have a young core pitching team, left-handers, pretty solid offense for the most part. But yeah. Colby, LFGM, yes. Mets beat Nolan last time. Okay, they did. All right, that was good to know. I don't remember it, honestly, to be honest, that Mets and National series. I just remember me getting triggered. But, yeah, that's good to hear, Joe. I appreciate you telling me that. Travis, I expect more out of Stroman. Yeah, I mean, the really big issue with Marcus Stroman that we looked at is he doing it for the money? And I really question, because it's a contract year. And all of a sudden, and you don't know, he could be performing better. The splitter slider, we know he does a lot of stuff with his leg mechanics to throw off the hitter's timing. But is he going to be like this next year when he resigns with the Mets or wherever? I hope so, because we saw in 2020 that he opted out, and everyone felt that it was because of the contract, and he didn't want to have his money. What's the word? That they didn't. Stroman didn't want to play in 2020, whether that was from, not wanting his value to go down, or maybe an injury. You never know, because that was pretty relevant now in 2020. So I feel that's why Stroman didn't really want to play. So a lot of Mets fans, in result, pretty much said, "Don't re-sign him." Screw Stroman. Why would he do that? But Stroman, Marcus boy, you gotta get both ways, my friend. What am I on? Chocolate milk. I don't know. I wish the Mets could breeze past the Marlins, but that's no guarantee. Yeah, Marlins always give us a rush for our money. Weird to see Hayden without a hat. I know. I figured I have it nice and calm today. I figured, give my head a rest. Not many people could say they see me without a hat. The only time I'll be around a ton of baseball fans when I'm not wearing a hat is for the national anthem, when I take it off for the 30 seconds. Otherwise, I always have a hat on. But I figured, I'm rocking the Pete jersey. Maybe change it up if I don't wear a hat. I'm into superstitions. Maybe the Mets will go on a hot spree. You never know. Have the old guy that was the Pirates. Not sure you're referring to. Willie Adames is better than Javier Baez. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that, man, 100%. I am not big on Baez, and we all know that. Baez and Lindor I've been very upset with. And just when we got Baez, I was not too big on it. So, yeah, I agree with you, Packers GOAT. I really do. Adames has been a huge upgrade for the Brewers. I don't know if he's still holding up, but from last I heard, he's been putting up MVP numbers with the Brewers. Nick, what's going on, man? I appreciate you tuning in. Bob Melvin could leave. Yeah, you never know. Anything could happen. So in terms of the managers, Bobby Valentine is a fair choice, says Stoney. Devin is going to say David Wright. I don't know if David Wright's going to want to do it. He is young. He has a good relationship with this team. I would rather David Wright do something with the Mets organization. If he is to, I think he lives somewhere out west. I think he may live in California because I know he was at the Dodgers game, so maybe he lives there on the Pacific Coast at least. Is he going to want to come to New York with this? He has a young family. He has three young kids. He has a wife. But regardless of that, I don't know if he's still going to want to continue doing this with the Mets. I mean, maybe as a front office executive, I think he is somewhere in the front office in terms of the white collar stuff. But is he going to want to get involved in the blue collar, dirty work stuff? With coaching staff? I think he could do that. I just don't see him being a manager. I could see him maybe being some type of hitting instructor or some type of bench coach or something around the lines or something with offense maybe. In terms of manager, I don't see it. I don't know. Maybe like 10 years from now, but now I really can't. Castellanos will opt out. Yeah, that's the thing is because Castellanos isn't a free agent. He has an opt-out this year, so you don't know. He could still resign with the Reds. I mean, if the Reds, who are looking good now and are in second place for the wild card, if they make the playoffs, Castellanos may want to stay. So we'll have to see. I mean, if the Mets give him a big enough contract, we don't know if he's going to even opt out at this rate. So Mike Piazza's a manager. Yeah, that's another fair choice. Puerto Rican boy, what's going on? Giants got a solid win, but Carrasco was excellent. Yeah, pretty much like I said before. I mean, Giants got a solid win, and then Carrasco pretty much gave up 2 runs, and then he was pretty much awesome for the 5-6 innings following. Fire Rojas, you tell him, Nick. You tell him. For Michael, do you think it's possible DeGrom returns in September? Yeah, so pretty much we saw that DeGrom was having a light toss yesterday in the outfield. He was also throwing lefty too. Pretty interesting. I mean, I don't think he's going to be throwing lefty as a pitcher. But yeah, pretty interesting. I don't know. I'm really confused with what's going on. It's really ambiguous. There's more than one understanding with what's going on with DeGrom. Are they going to use him at this rate? If you're out of contention, there's really no point in using him. But then he kind of, with the DeGrom injury, it screwed up our deadline because they didn't want to go out if they knew DeGrom wasn't going to be here and it was still uncertain. So they didn't do anything at the deadline. So it's unfortunate, but I'd rather him miss the rest of the season and do what he did for the first half for the full season of 2022 than him, get, an ACL tear or something like that, which, once you hear elbow, you get a little concerned. Even if it's inflammation or anything, you get concerned. From Joe, I agree with you, man. The overturn call on the Nimmo double was bullshit. The fact that he touched it and then he came off for a split second after sliding, it's so dumb. I mean, listen, it doesn't have to be like first base where you get to come off the bag and run through it or slide through it. But yeah, it's so stupid that they overturn that and then you waste 10 minutes of the game. And instant replay is good, but I think it comes to the point where certain things shouldn't be reviewed. Like, strikes and balls shouldn't, obviously. Foul or fair shouldn't. But stuff like that is also stupid. I mean, it should really just be for, like, safer out calls, if the ball hit the glove in time, if the ball was caught or if it was trapped, if it was a home run or if it, fan interference, stuff like that, I think it should be used for. Nationals and yeah, hopefully, Quentin, hopefully. I miss Thor, too. Hopefully, Christopher Thor should be coming back very shortly. And yeah, hopefully he should be coming back soon. I believe he did make a rehab start, and I think he looked pretty solid for, I think, the most part. So we're gonna have to see if Syndergaard can really come back for this team. And my overall thing with Syndergaard coming into this season was, what are we gonna get out of him? Obviously now Syndergaard, he's only going to be going so many innings. We only have so many games left in the season. During the offseason, I think it was at least February, March, I said put him in the bullpen. We don't know how valuable he's going to be. We don't know what we're going to get out of him, how many innings he can go. He's a fastball thrower, has high velocity. That, after coming back from Tommy John, no way. They're saying that he's not going to be able to throw the slider because they're saying that's what resulted in the mishap back in, what was it, June or July. So, I mean, don't use him as a valuable source. Put him in the 7th or 8th inning, honestly. Should my Angels fire Joe Madden? Yeah, let's see, Jose, how the Angels are doing. We know, I believe they're around 500 right now. Okay, they're 3 games under 500. Obviously, you have Shohei Ohtani carrying the team. I saw Joe Adell was called up. Joe Adell is a great prospect. Otherwise, it seems you're really kind of limited. I mean, David Fletcher, I think, is near leading the league in hits. I mean, Anthony Rendon hasn't been doing anything, and now he's out for the season. But I feel the Angels really do have a nice young core coming down the line with Joe Adell, with Mike Trout. Well, not young, just a good core in general with Joe Adell, Mike Trout. If Anthony Rendon could be his 2019 prior self, Shohei Ohtani, and they just need pitching. They need pitching. You can't have Ohtani out there and then throw in Dylan Bundy and expect, him to do what Ohtani does. You don't, if they got a guy like Garrett Cole in 2019, I mean, that would have been a great offseason. Cole and then Rendon, that would have been awesome. But yeah, hopefully the Angels can get it together. Joe Madden, I don't know what he's like for the Angels. We'll assume he's kind of like the same that he was with the Cubs. We're going to have to see. I mean, overall, it's a tough thing for the Angels, though. From Static Attic, Beltran stunk his entire first season and was fine after the remainder of his contract. Yeah, I've heard about it with Beltran, Piazza. It's just my concern. This is the thing with Lindor. I mean, he's not even in his contract year, so that's what kind of pisses me off. Don't get me wrong. He could, do I think he'll ever be 341 million's worth? I don't know. Best I could personally see Lindor doing. I don't know if I could see his 2018 self, but I could see him being a 25 home run hitter, 80 to 90 RBIs, 20 stolen bases, a 270 average, 280 average. I don't see anything crazy. I don't see Lindor being in, having an 1,000 OPS. I can't see anything crazy like that. I would love it. I mean, Lindor's defense, makes up for it, but, you're not going to pay a defensive guy who's going to hit 220, 341 million. You would have kept Jimenez for that value, or you would have got like an Iglesias or Captain Jimenez or someone like that. For maybe, I've heard a lot of players getting sent down, but I've heard a lot of managers getting sent down. Yeah, I like the DFA a lot of the Mets. Rojas, toilet flushes. You tell him, Christopher. Overmanaging is becoming a problem these days. In 2019 ALCS, Boone took out Chad Green and put in Ottavino to face George Springer with a 2-1 lead, even though Ottavino was cruising. Yeah, that's really the issue with these managers. And I mean, I question how much of it is there. I mean, because people say, oh, it's the analytical department. I mean, is the analytical department like radioing, like the manager saying, hey, this guy has, a higher OPS against these guys, switch? No. So I really question, how much of it's the manager and how much of it is other people. But yeah, I mean, that's a good reason too. Yeah, Peraz is the king of the bench mob. That's true. He did some dumb analytics. The first pitch from Ottavino was destroyed. I feel like I remember that game. I probably do. Logan LFJ, of course. That Martinez out. Filed guy we signed. Bagotter. Yeah, I heard he did something again to his meniscus, I think, yesterday. He swung or something, and he hurt himself again. So that's not too good in a AAA start. Call up Khalil Lee. Yeah, honestly, I'd be in favor of that. I think looking at Khalil Lee right now, we got a small sample size of him. We saw his defense is awesome. Doesn't give up so much contact. He's not a contact hitter, but I think it's something right now, and he's raking in AAA. So maybe his contact's getting there. Maybe he could do maybe half of that of what he's doing in AAA in terms of Major League Baseball. The hair looks great. I appreciate it, Joe. Yeah, I try my best. I gel it every day in the morning. Joust, whatever his name is, the guy that took over as the Mets manager in Rojas. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much he could do in a 162 game season. I mean, if Rojas gets ejected, sure, but I don't know how much a 162 season. I mean, at this rate, give Joust the manager, acting manager for the rest of the season, sure. I don't think David Wright is going. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think he's kind of quiet from baseball now. I think he wants to get involved, behind the scenes, but I don't think he wants to be, super involved, crazy like that. Most I could see David Wright being is some type of instructor with the team, whether it's a hitting coach or I know he's something like in the white collared front office, but I think that's really all he's going to stay personally. As much as I love these former guys, just going out there, having a catch with JD Davis, Pete Alonso, hitting, giving him BP, talking. I think it's great, but comes that these guys going to want to do it. LFGM, of course, great stream. Okay, fair. I hope we sign Baez. Yeah, we're gonna have to see. And Christopher, thank you. Of course, man. I appreciate you tuning in, LFGM. So yeah, if anyone else has any more comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. Smash that like button. We had a great stream, great community in the chat. Couple new people I saw, so I really appreciate if everyone is new, if they can check out the channel. I had a brain fart for a minute. And yeah, obviously a lot of you guys do want me to start doing more game streams, and I definitely do want to start doing that. When the off season comes, I'm going to stream the off season. When the postseason comes, I'm going to stream those games anyways, regardless if the Mets make it, which they're not. So I'll definitely stream like the ALCS, the wild card. We did see that was released, so I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to go. So we're going to have to see. I appreciate everyone for tuning in to the stream. Smash that like button. We're approaching that hour mark. The lineup, yeah, I think the lineup should be up by now. Let me take a look-see. Stand by, everyone. Okay, let's see if the lineup is up. I don't see anything, which is weird because it's 5:25, and usually they have the lineups up by now. But if you guys know where the lineups are, let me know. I'll check Instagram, and then I'm probably going to call it and say they didn't put the lineup yet. Breaking news. Tomas Nido is expected to be activated and placed on the starting lineup tonight per Luis Rojas. We know he was out with a sprained left thumb injury. Wow, okay. Interesting. So we're going to have to see how that goes for Tomas Nido. So it looks like they're going to give Mazika a couple days off, which makes sense. You really use them a lot. So yeah, good to see with that. But I'm trying to see the starting lineup for tonight. I can't find it. So yeah, I guess there is no starting lineup tonight for the Mets. But as we know, Pete Alonso is looking very good. Something I do want to share. Pete Alonso is hitting 282, 367, and 564 with 12 home runs, 26 RBIs in 40 games following the All-Star break. That's awesome. Yeah. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in. We are going to call it a stream. Hit that hour mark. LFGM, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. 30 likes. Yeah, I appreciate it, everyone. Rhys Hoskins and Zach Heflin are out for the season. Yes, I did see that. I know JT Realmuto has really been struggling. I think he's been batting way below the Mendoza line since the All-Star break. Hoskins is out with the groin injury. I did see that. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. As always, smash that like button. Turn on those post notifications so you never, ever miss an update. You never know if it goes into extra innings. What do? I go live so we can get a Mets walk-off. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Let's get that W. Big Meat Pete, this side, whatever, is going to hit a home run tonight. LFGM. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Till next time, baseball fans. See ya.